Welcome back to the channel. It's November 13th, day 104 of writing my novel. If you can't tell by now, I'm a little out of sorts. I woke up about 2 hours earlier than normal this morning, and I've had a really busy day. A lot of work had to be done outside, and I am feeling the effects this evening. Very sleepy, but overall the day went okay. Came in as usual and built a fire, and I had dinner. I watched a couple videos on YouTube, one of which I want to talk about if Emily will let me keep my pad. That'd be great. Yeah. So yeah, one of those videos I want to get into here in a moment. The writing was kind of slow starting off. As usual, I'm in a position where I'm transitioning from one scene to another, and that seems to be some of the hardest writing for me sometimes, unless I already have sort of a vision for what's going to occur. But there again, my day was so busy, I haven't had time to put much thought into the writing or the novel itself today. So I found on days like that, it's harder for me to sit down and get started, you know. But I pushed through it. I wrote until just a little while ago. It's like 2 o'clock now, so I'm going to record this video and convert it and then upload it. And while that's happening, I can go back to the writing. So, but I've got roughly 2 hours, or a little less, I mean, depending on. I'll probably end up pushing it until 5, and, you know, which I would rather not do, but I want to have some time to write a little more. So anyway, not to drag this on, let me get into the whole thing about the video. Yeah, let me preface by saying this isn't a criticism of the video that I watched. I'm going to link to it in the description. I like a lot of the things that this girl's posted. One thing I will say in particular, I don't know if it was 2014 or 15 or maybe both, but she posted daily vlogs for NanoWriMo, and I've seen almost all of them. And it's super cool to be able to watch someone's journey like that. So, I mean, I definitely give her props for doing that, and she's got a lot of good videos, one of which is in my favorites list. She did one and included a quote by this author, and I can't quote it because my memory's terrible, but it's a great quote. So anyway, rambling about that, but yeah, this is not a criticism about her video, it's just her video made me think about my own story, and so these are kind of my views on the whole mess. So basically the thing is, her video, like the title of it says, let me find that, I wrote it down. Sorry, this is all scattered. I don't see that. Yeah, here we go. In the title of her video it says, "It's okay to dislike your story," with like exclamation points. And I mean, that's the part of it that I disagree with. Kind of the point, I think, of her video is just to tell people who are doing NanoWriMo, you know, like, if you're struggling with your story, she's basically saying don't give up. It's alright, you know, if you have a day where you don't love it or whatever, and that I can kind of agree with and be like, yeah, just try to push through it. But I mean, she goes further later in the video and says basically that she has no plans to do anything with her story that she's writing for NanoWriMo, that she's not going to edit it, she's not going to go back to it, you know. And that to me just kind of seems like a huge waste of time. Like, I couldn't imagine investing writing every day for a month on a project that I knew was just going to like be dead afterward. Like, I personally couldn't get behind that. So anyway, yeah, I wrote out this long thing, and I don't know how much of this I'll read or get into. But the main point that I wanted to illustrate is, in my opinion, if you dislike your story, I mean, do whatever you feel that you need to do to change it, you know. Kill off your main characters, you know, if you're sinister, or like add some new ones in, or you change the plot. Like, if you look through the favorites list on my channel, there's a video that NanoWriMo posted, and somewhere in it she basically says, write what you love, you know. Write the story that includes the things that just amaze you, or that you're super interested in. That's a story that you're going to be able to stick with while you're writing it, hopefully, and you're going to be driven to pursue it and continue it until you finish it, because you're excited about the subject matter and exploring that and where it goes. So that's kind of the point of my ramble, is if you dislike your story or you're having issues with your characters, I mean, don't let that stress you out. Just go in and do something different, you know. Ask yourself a question and be like, well, what can I do to this so that tomorrow when I go to sit down to write, I'm writing something that I care about rather than continuing writing this story that really doesn't matter to me, you know. I may have just cut through all the BS that I have written down here. I believe I did. So, well, I mean, there was just one part where, you know, as I've said before, and I said earlier tonight, sometimes the writing is hard. I mean, sometimes when you sit down to write, as I've said before, it's not a thing where every day you're like, hell yes, like, these words are great, and, you know, it was so exciting to do this scene or whatever. Like, it's not always like that, you know. But I mean, that doesn't mean that your story is bad, or that you should abandon it, or, I mean, whatever. Like, that's just kind of a part of it. So I think you can push through that, and I think it's more important to try to focus on the things that you love and try to find those and put those into your story. And I think if you stick to that habit and you get accustomed to doing that, it's going to modify the way you write and the way you approach it, and just make it better. I mean, there again, I'm fucking sleepy, and so I can't even speak at this point, but yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to go over. So yeah, I'm not saying that she is wrong. It's just my view on it, and when I read the title and I watched the video, I was like, well, you know, I mean, I can kind of see what you're saying here. I think I would approach it differently. In my mind, if you just write a story that you find you dislike and you stick with it solely to, you know, complete NanoWriMo to get that title, and I mean, that's what you can say to yourself. I had the discipline to write every day for 30 days, and I have this title, you know, like, I mean, that's cool, you know, I guess, but I don't know, like, it's just different to me. Like, I would rather invest my time trying to do something that I cared about rather than something that I knew was never going to go anywhere or be of any use to me, you know, beyond practice. So yeah, I don't know, that's about all I've got on that. Like I said, hell, it's been a long day. I am tired. Yeah, I will mention, I did get a few comments on my video where I did the reading last night. There again, the reading wasn't as great as I had hoped. It's a different thing, like talking to this camera that's got this big eye rather than another person. So, like, there's a level of anxiety, even to reading, you know, from a page. Like, it's just weird. It's not like actually having a conversation with another person. So I hope that the readings in the future will be a little better. Aside from those readings, I don't know what future episodes will be like. I was thinking about it earlier today. Thing is, I don't want to do something hokey, so I'm saying, like, I don't want to have a gimmick for every episode. You know, it's not like some sale at Walmart or whatever. Like, I mean, it's a vlog, so I want it to be relevant to each day, you know. I mean, that's why I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this one about the video that I saw because it happened today or yesterday, considering the time. But so I don't know. I mean, some days there may not be a video for me to ramble about, you know. So it's hit or miss. As I've said before, the writing has to come first. So if I have the time and energy, you know, there may be something depending on the odd circumstances of the universe and life. As I always say, I wish you well with your stories. If you're having trouble with your stories and you don't like it, let me be redundant and say try something else. Sorry. Don't be afraid to scrap your story if you have to. I mean, you know, go in and cut out huge chunks of it and turn it into something that you do enjoy. I mentioned in a previous video that I had to do that with mine. I started, as I've said, in August, and I wrote for about a month, and I didn't dislike what I wrote. I mean, there wasn't necessarily anything terribly wrong with it, other than the fact that the writing wasn't that great. I mean, first thing that I had written in forever and ever. But I had this intuitive knowledge that what I wrote wasn't the direction that the story was supposed to go in. And so, I mean, I just changed it. And that was that, you know. Here I am, several months later, half awake. But, you know, I could have just, like, stayed with that, you know, and could still be writing something that I really didn't care about. And that just seems depressing to me, you know. Like, I couldn't fathom doing that, honestly. So hopefully, cross our fingers, the next few days I'll actually have had some sleep, and so the videos won't be such a ramble and here and there. Today my mind's just gone. But yes, definitely, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have some alternative views on this, what I've talked about today, certainly leave a comment. We can have some dialogue about it. As I've said, I'm not saying that she's wrong, and definitely I would recommend that you check out her channel. She's got a lot of videos about writing. And there again, I think 1 or 2 years where she did NanoWriMo and recorded it every day. So check all that out. And stop listening to me and go on and on. So you guys have a great night. Enjoy the writing if you can, and take care.